Hello, everyone. I'm Theo Sharp from Henry Stewart Events, and I'm delighted to welcome you to today's webinar, Creative Production in the Age of Agentic AI, sponsored by Rocketium. During the session, please send through your questions at any point using the questions box, which you can open by clicking on the question mark at the top of your GoToWebinar window. Also, a reminder that a recording of this session will be sent to you tomorrow, so you can view it again at your own pace. And now it's my great pleasure to pass you over to Satej Sirur, co-founder and CEO of Rocketium. Thank you, and over to you.
Thanks, Theo. It's always a pleasure to do this with the Henry Stewart team. We've been partners for a while and really love the audience that they have cultivated, people who are really passionate about creative operations, as I am, and obviously my guest here, Michel Benhamou. Welcome, Michel.
Thank you so much, Satej, and thanks so much to Theo as well, and for Henry Stewart events to organize it. And thank you to hello to everyone who joined us today. Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure, to be here to discuss with you, Satej. We've known each other for a while to discuss a topic that that's not just timely, but truly transformative for our industry, which is creative production in the age of Agentic AI. So excited to share some insight from my own journey and what I've learned, the challenges that I faced, and what I see coming next. So I really hope for everybody who's following today that you walk away with some tangible ideas you can apply.
Yeah, and to the audience, I just want to say that Michel has been thinking about this space for many, many years. We'll start with a little bit of his background, but he was really keen that he didn't want this to be another webinar where we're just talking at a high level. So he'll try and be, as specific as possible without naming or shaming anyone, but he'll try to get into some specifics wherever he can. And obviously, Michel, to you, I just want to say that this audience really passionately cares about creative operations. They are very engaged in events whenever we meet them, and they are really really care deeply about this topic. So without further ado, I want to get started. By the way, Theo introduced me. I'm Satej. I'm one of the founders of Rocketium. This conversation is not about me. It's about Michel, his experience, and creative production, the age of agentic AI. So maybe we'll start off with that. You have done a bunch of stuff over the years. Can you walk us through a little bit of your experience and give the audience a flavor of how you've been thinking about this space for the longest time?
But thanks so much, Satej. Yeah, I mean, today, as you said, Satej, I really want to be very honest, to give tangible view on what I think about AI and what we can do, because as you know, we've been hearing about AI every single day, 15,000 pounds post every day. So it's very, very hard, to know what to do with it. So, but let's start actually with a bit overview of my career. So my career path has really been, about navigating the evolving landscape of creative operations and content production. And I've always been focused on one thing: how can we use technology to make creativity more effective and efficient? So as you can see on this slide, I started actually my career in a French startup in India, in Chennai, a company called CreativeOps, and it was the first company in EMEA actually where we were building Facebook applications and social games. It was pretty cutting edge for the time. Now it doesn't exist anymore. And I'm very, very sorry for all those people based in EMEA who used to be on Facebook and used to play on Facebook apps. 90% of chance that you got notified because of all the apps and games that we had produced. But it was a lot of fun. So I built out, the entire team in India, developers, designers, project managers, quality insurance. So quite a big job, and I was only 22. So as you can imagine, I improvised a lot, but it was quite successful after several years over there. After my few years in India, I moved to London in the UK, working for traditional agencies like Havas. But those years at Havas, really gave me a solid foundation in the brand building, how to work on big 360 campaign execution, the word of big idea and meticulous craft. Then, still in London, I moved to into more digitally focused environments like AKQA and Oliver, and those agencies were at the forefront, of digital transformation. And it's where I really started to understand the complexity of creative operations. I've done two very different things for those companies. AKQA was leading the build of the first Tag Hour connected watch, and I was working closely with Google and Intel. Amazing experience. And within Oliver, which is part of the Brandtech group, still in London as well. And after I built the French operation, but I've been lucky enough to build more than 50 plus, content studios in France and globally. And all those experiences eventually led me to Hogarth France, that I've joined 2 months ago. So it's quite new, but very, very exciting journey so far, where I have two roles. I'm COO as well as head of content studio. And for those who don't know Hogarth, it is actually the global leader in creative production. It is the production arm, global production arm of WPP. So within Hogarth, my role is really about ensuring our entire French entity to operate efficiently and strategically. I have 5 key priorities. One is to drive efficiency, how to constantly optimize workflow to reduce, time to market, and improve cost effectiveness without compromising quality, very key. My second actually priority is to elevate creative. So how to make sure that our studios and our teams are places where brilliant creative work thrives. The third part, it is actually the adoption of tech. How to identify and integrate cutting-edge tools, especially AI, to enhance our capabilities. But I'm very lucky with Hogarth because being part of the WPP give us the advantage of leveraging AI marketing tools such as WPP Open. The first priority is really about talent culture. I really want to make sure to build and nurture a team that's agile. It's a big word, agile. Now everybody has been talking about agile for years, but to really it's more about being collaborative between us internally and also with our client, skilled and excited about the future of creative operation. And the final part, but not it's quite important, is actually how to build, a client partnership. So I really want to make sure that everything we do is for our clients. So how can we work closely with clients to understand, their needs and co-create solutions that deliver real business results. So Satej, after 15, 20 years in this industry, my journey has consistently shown me that technology isn't just a background. It's a practical tool overall that shapes how we create at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you've had different kinds of experiences of technology, building some things, using it, and now creating a culture where more and more of it is used. So it's almost like you've been preparing for this job for the last 15 years. And yeah, in any conversation with you, no matter how much you talk about technology, the human angle comes in, whether it is your clients, the end users who see the ultimate creative output, or the team itself that is behind the scenes. And I think your priorities are great. Not everybody has to be at your level and operating at that sort of scale, but even within a team of 3 people, 5 people, or even solo, a lot of these priorities I would think the audience is connecting with.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's human first at the end of the day. We're going to go further during this webinar, Satej, but at the end of the day, we can implement the best technology on the planet. We can have the best working, processes. At the end of the day, it's all about our team and our clients and how we collaborate. So we go into more details, but at the end of the day is let's make sure that we have the right talents. Then let's create the best, combination of people/talent first, tool and processes. If we have actually the combination of those three, That's for me the winning triangle.
Yeah, and so with that, let's get into a slightly different gear. Over the years, you've seen technology evolve, and whether you call it AI or automation or anything else, you've seen
Yeah.
some version of this. So can you just walk us through how you've seen this evolution? Is what we are doing fundamentally different, or in some way or the other, it has continued to stay with us?
Yeah, I mean, from very early on, technology, as I said earlier, technology just wasn't an option. It was actually crucial for getting things done, essentially in balancing, creativity with efficiency and scale. Um, and, after the past 15, 20 years now, before I really go into the details, I had 4 key lessons. The first one is as digital channels exploded, the need for content variations and speed grew exponentially. So as you can imagine, we had a lot of fun at the time, but manual processes simply couldn't keep up. So we had to find a way to make things work. The second thing was also how to balance, craft and efficiency. Creative as a whole naturally aim for perfection, for differentiation. But on the other side, business demands often require speed and volume. So my role, after all those years, and it's still the case now, is that for me, I really consider that many of the issues that we had to deal with in the past, the foundation of those issues are still there. It's just actually you don't now manage them the same way and with the same tools because technology has evolved and we as an industry have evolved. But my role really became about finding, that practical balance. How do you maintain quality and creative integrity while delivering at scale? The third key lesson was about the how to break down silos. So in all the agencies, well, not all, but in many of the companies, or even actually when I to many clients I'm talking to, you can see disconnected teams and tools, and it's been a major bottleneck for me. So I saw actually firsthand the positive impact of bringing strategy, creative, production, and technology closer together. Um, and last but not least, the practical role of data. I think years ago we were not really focused about how all the content we were producing were performing because things have evolved, and now we have plenty of digital channels, and we didn't need to track all this at the time, but now we need to understand how content perform. We need to use those insights to inform, future creative decisions become a core focus. Why do I mention all this? It's because all those issues have been the same issues I've been dealing with for the past 20 years. And I haven't actually dealt with those issues the same way. But as you said, Satej, before we even actually been talking about AI and since the explosion of generative AI, this is really when AI became a massive topic. But in the early days, there was one thing that we were calling automation, and that is still actually the case right now. But automation was more about process optimization and smart tooling. Um, I really think that we were dealing with very practical problems, such as how to manage, variations. So imagine needing to create hundreds of ad variations for different markets, languages, or audience segments. Doing that manually was a nightmare. Literally, I remember my team spending night and day to try to keep up. But as you can see here, we started to adopt, DAM, digital asset management systems, where we finally could centralize assets, where we then also started to have tools where we could start to do templates. So when I was at AKQA, when I started to build Facebook applications, I started to realize that many of the clients at the time were looking for 50% of the time they were looking for the same thing. So how could we be smarter and not start from scratch all the time? Could we just build a template that then we could time to time bring some variations depending on the need of the client, but then 50% of the job was done. So at the time either had to build ourselves our own solutions, or there were already some tools that actually could allow us to do it. So it was when I understood, the practical power of templatization to scale production, and it is still actually a topic today. We're still talking about how to produce template and scale that up, and to do content reuse. So that's the reason why we also now have very powerful DAM, where we can centralize content and track it and be able to reuse it if need be. The second thing was also to we had this issue about streamlining the workflow. Tools like project management platforms, like there's plenty of them now. Here we put Workfront, but there's Asana, Rike, Zoho projects. I mean, there's plenty of amazing platforms right now, and those platforms actually really started to help us to standardize, approval processes, track progress, and ensure compliance across complex campaigns. Then after, we also had those issues about global content. So for global brands, it was very manual, when we needed to do translations, cultural adaptations. So then we started to have, tools on the market that could really help us to manage translations and cultural adaptations. So we started to use platforms to streamline this, and that was also often integrating with translation memory. And it existed years ago, and we still use it now. So we had tech solutions to solve some very practical issues, and we also had early hints of the AI potential, even before when we have it on the side, even before the recent explosion of generative AI, and definitely when ChatGPT became such a big hit in 2022. We already saw such as early signals of how intelligent systems could help scale content. For example, we already started to automate asset tagging. So AI could, in a certain way, could analyze images and videos to automatically tag them, making them much easier to find and reuse. We also have some basic content personalization, using algorithm to select the most relevant ad copy or image base. It was literally the beginning of what we call now, dynamic creative optimization, DCO. So it was literally the precursor of today's DCO, and also, predictive analytics. So we already had some AI systems that was helping us understand which creative elements were likely to perform best before launch or reducing guesswork. So these are early applications. Now in 2023 until now, things evolve drastically. How tech evolved, it always evolved every month. But since generative AI came to play, now this is crazy how many solutions are in place, how much AI can help us. And I mentioned about WPP Open that we have here that really help us do that. There's a Rocketium, there's Jasper. There's so many amazing platforms now that can really solve some specific issues. But I wanted to actually mention all this because for the past 20 years, I had to deal with the same issues. It's just with different angles. Tools evolved, and we just had to go with it. So those early applications, while simple, by today's standards, really actually showed me the practical ways intelligent system could augment human creative capabilities and drive scales. But at the end of the day, it's all beautiful to say all this, but we all know that it's easy to say than to implement. And we know that as soon as there's new tools or new technology, there's always, challenges that we need to face.
Yeah, and I think as you are describing this, what the trend that I'm seeing is that people picked specific parts of the problem that were inefficient or broken in some way and brought in technology to improve that. And then each of those as its own vertical one thing started getting better and better. And to your point, how do those tools talk to each other? Do people now work on the silos that you mentioned? People are working on so many different tools. So whether it is WPP Open, Rocketium, or any other systems, the very interesting trend that is coming is not just generative AI, but using some of that AI to actually operate the software itself, where people don't have to use that anymore. And that's the promise of agentic AI. So maybe as a next step, I want to go into that and talk about how do you see this shift from traditional software, which I know everybody in the audience, there are tons of software that they have installed and their IT team has paid for. But realistically, how many do they use? Even more realistically, how many of those do they really love versus the promise of AI using that software and you supervising? So can you tell a little bit about what is the shift coming with agentic AI and what are some pitfalls in that things to watch out for?
Yeah, I mean, it's what you're raising, Satej, is actually it's one of the big issues that we are dealing with. I mean, it's always been the case, and AI coming doesn't change the issues that we had to face. What I mean by that is, uh, you know, we need to let's be honest. The adoption of AI is a critical discussion, and we have to deal with it on a daily basis, not only internally, but also, with our clients and between us. There are many different blockers they are cultural, they are technical, they are ethical. I would say that the first one, the because it is a massive shift for many reasons. Compared to the previous actually platforms or tools that we had to implement in the past, and I'm going to mention one soon, but I think that before we did not have, all those social networks. We were not publishing that much online. Everybody has a say on everything, which is fine, but it's really, really hard not to really differentiate what is true or what is not true. And I really believe that since we've been talking to AI, I mean, honestly, it can be extremely scary when you see that, and I can see the reluctance of people adopting AI. So I would say that the first blocker for me, the number one, is cultural resistance from the creatives, but from many people overall. And this is actually often the biggest hurdle. You know, we're talking about creative operations, so let's talk about the creatives. And I've been working with creative for 20 years, and I couldn't be more proud of working with so amazing people on a day-to-day basis. Uh, and I understand them. Most of the time, creative will worry that AI will devalue their skills, uh, commoditize their work, or even replace them. We've been hearing a lot about it. Many the fear of losing the human touch. Um, my perspective is on this topic, which is for me one of the biggest blocker of adoption, is the fear is understandable, completely understandable, but that a lot of change management and training and explanation. We need to demystify what AI in our industry. I'm talking only about AI in the creative operation industry. Um, AI, in my honest opinion, everybody can agree or not. It's perfectly fine. Obviously, I don't pretend to know everything. It's just my personal point of view. But AI is only here to replace human creativity. I really think that AI is going to be a human-led AI more than anything else. Uh, I really believe it's here to augment it. And Microsoft you like or not what they delivered, but they came up with Copilot. The name is badass. It's the best name they could have come up with. It is a great name because AI is a Copilot. It has been built this way, and it should stay a Copilot. The craft will evolve, and we will talk about this later, Satej. But shifting, from manual execution to strategic direction. But the we we need to help with we have to have a strong change management. We need to train our teams. We need actually to show them what is the real value in their day-to-day, where we can save time for potentially very repetitive tasks, where it can really enhance their creativity. And for me, AI needs to be involved from A to Z. From the moment we get briefed to the moment we do creative ideation, from the moment we do personalize, from strategy to prod and deployment, and then data analysis. Years ago, like a long time ago now, even before I started my career, so I'm not going to pretend that I was working at that time, but I want to use this as an example because I was talking to a friend of mine about this literally last week. When, in essence, Photoshop, when Photoshop came to our industry, it was a disruptive technology. Like any major disruption, it was met, with a mix of fear of the unknown and the potential, loss of the old ways, alongside immense excitement for the new possibilities. At the end of the day, Photoshop became the tool. Yeah, it is the tool that everybody is using. The utility of that technology has been proved undeniable. Everybody use it. But we at the time, people had the time to train themselves, to see the value of it. Here, AI, I think the pace is much faster. So is how we need to, us as leaders and for managers, we need to be there for our team. I don't pretend to know everything about AI. There's every single day there's something new about AI, but there's the beauty and the pros and cons of it. Is the pros, we can do so much now, and we're gonna deep in more very soon. But I can understand why people are scared, but it is our responsibility to train the team, to show them the value, and we're going to go a bit deeper about what we need to do to make sure that our teams really understand and integrate AI and see the value of it. So that's first the cultural resistance. Sorry, I'm taking a bit more of time about this because, as you said, Satej, for me, people are my number one priority in everything I've been doing. That's the only way I really believe that anything we do in CreativeOps can work. The second thing then that help work, as I said earlier, is the tech and the technical hurdles. Is many organizations operate with very complex, often siloed tech stacks. To come back to what you just said before, Satej, many companies have many different tools for whatever reason. Either many departments integrated tools because it worked for their specific need. Either IT department of a company decided to implement for the whole business, and then you start to see some issues between what the company wants versus what some departments really need. So integrating new AI tools, we need to understand the full ecosystem. I hate when it's too many tools. My key focus, and it's always been my focus, sometimes I succeeded, sometimes I didn't. You need to deal with what you have. However, step by step, I really believe that you need a fewer number of tools. And the key thing is they have to be connected to each other.
It is actually used by people, not
and
just
actually yes, and actually used by people. People will always be there. I really believe it. It's just actually some of their skill set, the way they're going to approach their job with that technology is going to evolve. But it's fine. That's the beauty of what we do in our industry. Our job evolves. My job has been evolving every single month, which is great. That's actually what I love.
Great.
But
I can give you one example since we are talking about some of this evolution. So one of the things that we are in the process of doing is evolving our pricing so that it's no longer charged on the basis of user licenses. We don't want to penalize you because you said 500 people will use it and then 600 people use it or 400 people use it. We want you to want you to pay only when you get value. right? So a lot of software is moving more from traditional software, which is you pay for a seat whether you use it or not, to you pay for the outcomes, and then AI is using the software, right? So anyway, I just thought such a disruptive change could also come, and not just customers, but also vendors, agencies.
Yeah, but no, actually, Satej, you're raising a good point. More and more of the solutions we're using, we are now looking for scalable solutions, solutions that we can grow with. We're going to talk about it later, but at the end of the day, if you want to do AI integration, it's like anything, step by step. So I don't want to be linked to any tech, for years. I want to be able to be linked to a tech that grow with me, with my business, with my team, and it does require a lot of actually prep work at the beginning, a lot of tests. But for me, simple. Let's actually use Agentic AI. We'll go deeper in a second, but let's have an Agentic AI approach. Let's make sure that we have a project management solution that is connected to a DAM, that is connected to some Agentic AI, that is connected to other solutions that really help you do your job. But at the end of the day, few tools, and I can assure you that your finance team will be very happy, and your team will also be extremely happy because it will really help integrate better, and your clients even more. Anything you need to implement, I really believe needs to be client facing too. So in a certain way, obviously, but we need to make sure that anything we implement needs to work also for our clients. It needs to work both ways. But the technical hurdle is key. The third point is about when we talk about AI, one of the key topics is also about the brand safety and the compliance and the governance. I mean, those things are non-negotiable. All the platforms that we talked about before, the tools, there are very clear terms and conditions. We knew exactly what we were getting into, most of them. Now it is extremely, extremely hard to do that, because many of the tools that we thought were amazing change their terms and conditions on a literally weekly basis. Some of them are being sued because they took data from, and I'm not going to mention, I'm sure that you know which one. And so how do we do that? First of all, regarding the brand safety, we need to ensure that AI generated content aligns perfectly with the brand guidelines, tone of voice, ethical standards. So we're going to talk about what I think we should do to make sure that we have a safe space for the brand. The second actually topic that many of the clients are asking me is, and it's completely normal, who owns the output? What are the approval processes? How do we track and audit the AI contribution of what we're producing? And finally, the compliance. So nothing new here. GDPR, the copyright, the IP, there are massive concerns. On our side, we are very lucky to have a huge, amazing AI legal team. We have a very strong framework of governance where every single week we are testing many different tools, and it really helps us internally to highlight actually what we can do, what is extremely safe, what we are not allowed to do. So it takes a lot of time actually to really test those type of tools, and this is actually when you realize those are kind of, sorry, bullshitting us online versus what were the tools that really make the difference. And the last part is actually how to keep, when we produce content, is how to avoid, what I call the generic trap. The problem that we have is how we need to be smart in terms of the tech and AI ecosystem we need to implement. If we are all using everyone the same AI models with the similar prompts, content will become literally generic, and there's not going to be any differentiation. Hence, the why human craft is going to be extremely key. At the end of the day, it's all about people. You can implement the best processes, but without focusing on your team and understanding how AI can truly help them in their day-to-day, you will struggle to integrate it. And I read literally yesterday an article, and I wrote his name because I wanted to make sure that I can mention his name because he wrote it. So Rohit Mittal, he said, in this AI era, because I wrote it here, Trust and creativity will be your most valuable marketing assets. AI can scale them, but only humans can lead them. When I read it yesterday, I thought that was spot on. I really believe exactly what he says. So there is a massive shift, and the shift is in both ways. It's not only tech, but it's also our jobs are changing, and we need to follow. We need to follow. Tech goes this way. At the moment, we are more that way. So we need to. It's our job to make sure that people are following.
Yeah, and we have last couple of minutes, couple of questions to go, and there'll be some time for questions as well. So there are some questions coming. Please ask them in the questions box over here, and we'll cover them. Last two things I want to ask you, because these were top of mind. So a lot of what you have focused on and spoken about can be interpreted as everything will be done with generative AI, whereas the promise of agentic AI is that what you would have done by putting something in an Excel and then a PowerPoint and then putting something in a Salesforce ticket or whatever, it's actually running a lot of those tools, right? So maybe talk a little bit about this transition from the AI that we have today to where it is going to go, so that everyone is not just thinking about, oh, the only thing about AI is generative AI. I would type and I would get an asset. So can you talk a little bit about how this transition is going to happen? What should people look forward to tomorrow? How are their jobs going to change?
Sure. It's a great question, and it's also, this is my view, and I can't wait to see the questions and what people think. But this is where I think things really get interesting, Satej. We are moving, according to me, we are moving beyond AI, as you said, as a simple tool, to AI as a strategic and creative partner. The shift from assistive AI to agentic AI is for me a significant evolution. Just to be super clear, what I mean about assistive AI, I think this is what most people are familiar with. You give it a specific prompt, it performs a single task. Think generating an image from text, writing a social media caption. It's reactive and requires a constant human input for each step. Like ChatGPT and many other platforms that everybody heard of, and it's extremely powerful, but it doesn't plan anything ahead. It's a one-to-one type of thing. But we're seeing an evolution. We are seeing tools that can now take a brief, generate multiple ad copy options, do some data analysis, can really select the best performing ads that you can integrate to DCO platforms or media buying platforms, or you have AI that can even analyze a website, identify content gaps, give us some guidance. It's actually what we call now, multi-modal AI. So you can now perform several tasks in almost, in one go or as a series. And now we are really talking more and more about agentic AI. And this is, for me, AI that can understand a high-level goal, meaning you break it down into subtasks. It can plan a sequence of actions. It can execute those actions. It can monitor its progress, learn from feedback, and even actually self-correct or iterate to achieve that goal. It's, for me, more proactive. It's goal-oriented, and it can operate with a certain degree of autonomy. So, and then after the next level, which is, I don't think where we are right now, but the next level is, I really believe that we're going to reach a stage where AI can truly reason. Let's be careful about the definition of reason. Can truly reason and plan across complex and multi-stage projects. So where AI with an agent with another agent can really, communicate to each other, can proactively identify emerging trends or suggest new campaign opportunities. So, if I use an example, imagine an agentic AI receive a brief. The brief is develop a campaign for a new shoe targeting Gen Z. For next quarter, this is my budget, and this is X percentage of engagement I want. I really believe that agentic AI now can communicate between different agents, and imagine one is going to be focused on conducting a market research. When the job is done, we'll send the information to the other agent that will develop a strategic option. Then the next agent will come up with a creative concept, etc. You understand the principle is they can then communicate as each other. So this is extremely powerful because me on my side, in terms of creative operation, we have implemented a full workflow where as soon as a brief comes in, we built AI agent that already knows the creative guidelines, that already knows the tone of voice, that already has analyzed brief in the past from this specific account, can straight away tell us actually if there's anything missing. We are winning so much time. Then after, from the moment we need to produce, agents can now analyze source files like Photoshop, Premiere Video, After Effects, print because there's many different type of assets, and can in a matter of seconds or hours produce all the assets and literally tell us, does it respect the creative guideline? So the reason why I'm saying all this,
your performance data to know what has actually worked or not worked, right? So it's not just taking all the information because LLMs are really trained on scraping the world's knowledge, all the public websites and video transcripts and stuff. That doesn't know about your client, past performance of assets and so on, right? Sure. So it's just connecting to all of those data sources as well.
Yeah, you're right. And so that's the reason why actually our roles as people in creative are changing. I really think that the role are shifting from doing to directing. So I think for the creative team, we are going from execution to curation. So instead of manually creating every assets, creatives will curate the best outputs, refine them, and ensure they are aligned with the brand vision. We are going from production to oversight. So human oversight become critical for quality control, brand safety, ethical consideration. So we are becoming the guardians of the brand. We are moving from task focused to storytelling strategy, and from repetitive tasks to innovative. So this isn't actually just about tools. It's about a fundamental shift in how we approach creativity. So yeah, so now obviously there's many things in terms of how we implement all this, but there's a big shift between, it's not only the tech that is evolving, we are evolving, and this is where I think creative are changing in terms of roles.
I think again, just to reiterate that point, it's not about traditional software is going away and everything will be done with generative AI. Traditional software overlaid with AI that can operate it, that can pull data from it, and you, instead of having to learn, master, adopt 5 different tools to do the same job, AI can do that, right? And like Michel said, over time it's getting better, it's learning from different systems, it has much more context, so it's able to do, and it's working proactively. I think that's really the dream that we are all working towards.
Yeah, true. And just to finish what you're just saying, Satej, is before we were spending a lot of time to learn how tools were working, but now with agentic AI, there's less learning to do, and that's actually, I think, what it really helps us in terms of integration. I'm just talking about learning more on the workflow process. Then after, in terms of the pure production, there's still a lot to do, and that's the beauty of human craft, that really need to know all the ecosystem and how to plug in all those things together. But in some areas, agentic AI really helps us now to do things faster without the need to learn how to use it. It does it for us, and then we take care of the rest, more like a 80-20 way.
Yeah, and now coming to the most important thing, a lot of people are interested, and we have a question here as well, specifically asking that there are so many tools. How do you go about picking them, and what's really the process? Some of it you talked about, creating that internal, building that interest within the team, making sure you adopt it. So can you talk a little bit about how do you really, because half the people in this audience would be told by somebody in their team that you have to bring in AI. The other half is trying to convince others that they have to bring in AI. So how would they go about this transition?
I mean, yes, I mean, we are all dealing with it in our own way, but adopting AI, especially agentic AI, it is a strategic journey. I mean, it's not just a tech upgrade of what you have in place already. I mean, for me, there's a roadmap to follow, and people will agree or not. But that would be my recommendation. First of all, in terms of foundation, let's start with the foundation first. We need to educate and we need to set a vision. We all has been, depending on your managing team or C level or whatever. We need to ensure all the senior leadership to understand AI practical potential and limitation. I'm a bit tired to hear every day that you just need to push a button and job is done. If it was that easy, I mean, I would know, and we would all know. But we need, it's a change. So we need actually we need to have this leadership alignment. We need to set a vision. I mean, clearly, we need to define a clear vision about for how AI will transform your creative production, aligning it with concrete business objectives. Example, AI will help us deliver 5 times more personalized content at 30% lower cost. It's an example. I'm saying this because this is the most important thing: is produce more to a lower cost. Then after
and just to clarify, the right problem is not that, hey, we need to use AI. There is this thing called AI. We need to use it. That's not the right problem, right?
No, it's not. First of all, what do we try to solve? I mean, let's start from the beginning. We need to step by step. We don't need to implement everything in one go. For me, that's the worst thing to do anyway. Let's educate the team, the people internally, and the leadership and the people. Let's actually see what are the issues that we have internally. What do we try to solve? Is it AI? Is it another tech? What is it? So that's the reason why the next one for me is there's a pilot and experiment phase. You need to identify use cases. So start with a very specific, high value, low risk areas where AI can deliver immediate, measurable benefits. Resizing images, generate ad copies, basic content summarization, whatever you think you need. But start with small use cases. Then after, you need to build a small and dedicated teams. You're not going to be able to ask everybody to know how to use AI. Start with a small team that you build from a cross-functional, pilot team, creative, producers, tech, data, to experiment. Start with a small team. You definitely need to define a success metrics. So why success? I mean, it sounds very stupid and very generic, but what success look like? It is key for this pilot, because why do I think it's super important? Because if you make it right, then your team are going to see the benefits. Then your leadership are going to see the benefits. So it's a win-win at the end of the day. And you need to iterate and learn. So get the feedback from your team, refine processes, document learnings. It's a learning process. Then after, many companies work in a different way because there's a compliance part that is extremely key. So either you build your own, if you can, obviously, you build your own infrastructure and capabilities. Where I'm lucky within the WPP, we do it, and many big companies does it, but you can or can't. So if you can build it, you need to have a data strategy. So develop a robust data strategy about how you will collect, store, manage, secure the data that you need to train and feed your AI. There are some solutions that are very safe, some others that are absolutely not. So for me, what I really recommend is to start small with a small environment where you store in a safe cloud base your client's data or your own data to learn from it. So like this, you know that you're learning from documents, creatives that you are allowed to train the model. Then after that, the tech stack, integration. So you need to plan for a seamless integration with your existing tech ecosystem. Don't try actually to destroy everything and start from scratch. What do you have right now? What can I implement as AI tools, for example, that can be connected to my DAMs, they can be connected to my project management tools. Just prioritize, actually, ideally, I like to prioritize with open APIs. So like this, if you have a tech team, they can read it and see how it is. If you don't have that, you need your legal team to read the terms and conditions and to do some tests to make sure that you can connect the dots. Well, security and privacy, definitely, you need to implement stringent data. I mean, security and privacy protocols from day one. We are in the era where it's super exciting, but it can be scary because we are talking about, the AI Act. We talked a lot about it, but nothing really changed so far. So you need building your own environment is really key. Then after you need to scale and integrate. So after test and learn, you're going to start standardizing your workflow. You're going to integrate successful, AI application into your core creative or production workflows. You're going to carry on training and roll out, comprehensive training programs. You have to. It's key, as I said, people first. And you need to continuously improve and learn from it. You're always going to have some issues, so learn from it, improve. Learn from it, improve. I mean, there's no magic wand. You sometimes you think that it's going to work out, and sometimes it doesn't. So you need to be quite agile in that way. You need to govern and optimize. So, as I said earlier about our legal team establishing a very strong governance framework, you need to establish a governance framework. I mean, you don't really have a choice. There's so many tools. You need to log it somewhere. You need to have a place where you know what you can't do. So you need to develop clear policies for AI usage, ethical guidelines, brand safety checks, etc., etc. You need to monitor the performance, meaning you need to continuously track the impact of AI on your defined metrics. There's definitely an ethical oversight. I mean, this is key. So you need to create an ethical review board or process to address potential biases, fairness, and because in the AI deployment, and you need to stay agile. So the final thing I would say, you can then you need to select also the right AI partners / vendors. They are in the market that are amazing, that you can absolutely trust. Big corporations are working with them for a reason. So if you don't have the possibility to build your own infrastructure, because I can understand it requires a lot of time and money, you can actually also work with amazing other solutions that are outside and look, for domain expertise, integration capabilities, data security and privacy, scalability. Please, scalability is key. Don't go to tools and then after you're tight forever. See if you can actually progress with that solution or evolve. And then after you need to put in place something that is scalable and flexible. So at the end of the day, I would say that it's a step-by-step process. Focus on your team, make your research, create a small team to test and to work on very specific use cases, and then you will evolve over time, and you're going to see what's going to help you. I really believe that it's a step-by-step, and don't rush. I know we are all being pressured to rush, but no need to rush. It's better to actually take more time. I always say that to my clients and to everybody. Let's actually take a step back. Let's actually focus on what we can do first, and then things will follow. I really believe that. So let's have the right foundation, and people will see the benefits, and the rest will follow. So, the edge of Agentic AI isn't just a future concept. It's impacting our work right now. This isn't about replacing, I really believe, human ingenuity. It's about significantly enhancing it. So leaders, managers who approach this transformation strategically with a clear focus on, coming back, people, process, and purpose, they will be the ones for sure who not only will adapt but lead the way in creative excellence for the coming years. So, it's not an easy topic.
No, for
I could
sure.
talk for 2 more hours, but I really hope that I've been able to give some tangible some tangible insights.
Yeah, no, and I think what you have really highlighted is that it's there'll be one set of people who want to jump into the deep end and telling them how to maybe dip their toes in and progressively do it, and it's equally hopefully motivation to the people who are standing outside the pool and too afraid to jump in because they think they'll just drown, right? So even for them, it's the same sort of motivation to tell them that try it a little bit, pick a problem and see success, and only then expand it. Don't do AI because everyone is jumping into the pool, or don't do AI because you don't have any better ideas. Pick a problem, work on it, get results,
Yeah.
and then iterate.
It's exactly that. I mean, AI, we need to think about it. It's a tech. It's tech overall. It's a tech tool. It's tech solutions. We need to approach AI like any of the things that we had in the past. So I really believe that. What is the use case I want to solve, or the use cases I want to solve? Let's actually then do some testing with a mix of tools that we already have in place versus new tools that are filling in the gaps. Test and learn, test and learn, and then after show internally the value of it, and then you go to the next stage. I know we're all being pressured. I understand about the use of AI, but I really believe that take a step back. It's fine. If you try to go too fast, it's like anything else. You're gonna crash. I mean, I don't believe in. There's no way you're gonna be able to be successful. I don't believe in it. So do step by step, and I really, and then either you do it internally or you do it with an amazing partner or vendor. There's solutions that are not, or that are also cost effective. It's I really believe that at any level you can implement it.
Oh, great. And Michelle, like you said, we can talk about this for 2 hours, 20 hours. You and I have been doing that over the last few weeks. So, but this is all the time that we have. I really want to thank the Henry Stewart team for arranging this, this audience and this occasion for us to talk about it. Like Theo said, there'll be a follow-up with the recording, the deck. I think some folks have already scanned the QR code, but we'll follow up with that as well. But really, a big thanks to you, Michelle, for sharing
But
everything openly and really showing your passion on the topic.
thank you so much, Satej. I just wanted to know, do we have time for one question or two, or do you think I answered to some or most of them? Is there maybe one we can pick up, or?
I think we can. I think we've covered most of them in some way or the other. But if there are any more questions, feel free to share it. And Michelle, if any other last words from you.
I mean, I really hope that it's been useful. I'm actually now seeing some of the questions. I'm so sorry, but which project management tool do you see as best in class? In terms of, I'm just allowing myself maybe 1 to 2 more minutes to respond to some of the questions, which maybe I did not actually go deeper today, but if that's okay with you, Satej. In terms of the project management tools, it's going to sound actually like a broken record, but it really depends what you're looking for. Me, I love solutions where you can do everything and integrate. There's two platforms I really, really like. It's also based on my own experience. I really like Rike and I really love Zoho projects. Two amazing tools. There's many others. Why? It's because you can do anything from online brief to dashboards, follow your team, and it connects with many different solutions. In terms of what do you think the biggest cost in time effective saving will happen? I think it's really about the day-to-day work and operation workflow. I think we need to focus on that, and then the rest will follow. Because obviously, if you don't have the right operation model, then what your clients are asking in terms of, asset-based, produce as many content as cheap as possible. That's great. Obviously, we all want to do that, but you need to focus on your operation model first, and this is where you have a really biggest cost and time effective savings to do. I'm so sorry, I'm not going to be able to, and I can see.
Maybe we can package some of these answers with the reply as well, Michelle, if you're okay with that, because
please, yeah,
a lot of questions and we didn't have much.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I thank you so much, Satej, for organizing it. For me, it's such a passionate subject. For everybody who's been listening today, I really hope that you find my everything that I mentioned useful. But the key thing is invest in your people, and then focus on the first key use cases you want to tackle, and work step by step. Despite all the pressure you may have, you're going to win more than you think by doing this way.
Great. Thanks everyone for joining us today.
Thank you, Satej and Michel, for a really insightful discussion. And thank you everyone for joining us today. As Satej said, you will receive the recording tomorrow, so you can rewatch this webinar at any time. And finally, if you're interested in more CreativeOps content, please visit the Henry Stewart website, where you'll find more information about upcoming events and webinars. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.